In the modern world, we think of a wedding day as the ultimate expression of personal choice, a celebration of love. In the Middle Ages, for a noblewoman, it was rarely about choice and almost never about love. It was a transaction. It was the sealing of an alliance, the transfer of property, the end of her girlhood, and the beginning of her duty. Her opinion was not required. Her consent was assumed. Tonight, we follow a 16-year-old girl named Isabelle on her wedding day, a day where she will meet her husband, a man twice her age and a stranger to her, for the very first time at the altar. We will explore the intricate rituals, the silent fears, and the terrifying uncertainty of a medieval arranged marriage, a story not of romance, but of duty, power, and quiet survival. Now, before Isabelle begins her fateful day, and you get comfortable for the night, if you enjoy this kind of immersive exploration of the past, please take a moment to leave a like and to subscribe, but only if you genuinely find value in what we do here. And, as always, I would love to know from what part of the world you are listening tonight and what time it is where you are. Feel free to leave it in the comments. It is a quiet fascination to see our community of night owls and history lovers spread across the globe. All right, the time has come. Find your most comfortable position, dim the lights, let the anxieties of the modern world fade away, and let us join Isabelle in the solar of her father's castle as her life is about to be irrevocably changed. Isabelle is 16 years old. Her world, until this morning, has been a small, safe, and predictable one, contained entirely within the cold stone walls of her father's castle. It is the world of the women's quarters, the solar, a large room on an upper floor where the light is best for sewing. It is a world of feminine sounds and textures, the soft rustle of wool and linen, the gentle chatter of her mother and her ladies-in-waiting, the rhythmic prick of a needle through taut fabric. Her days are a slow, predictable river of tasks: embroidery, spinning wool, learning the complex accounts of the castle's household from her mother, and, on warmer days, quiet, supervised walks along the castle battlements. From there, she can look out over the green, rolling hills of her father's domain, a patchwork of fields and forest that stretches to the horizon. It is a world she can see, but not touch. It is a man's world, a world of farming, of hunting, of war. Her world is this room, this castle. It is a life of gentle, gilded confinement, and until today, she has known no other. She is sitting on a heavy oak bench by a tall, arched window, a piece of embroidery lying forgotten in her lap. The frame is stretched with a piece of fine linen, and on it she has been working for weeks on an intricate pattern of a stag, its antlers like the branches of a winter tree. The sunlight of the late spring streams through the wavy, imperfect glass of the window, illuminating the fine silk threads of her work, making the colors gleam. But she is not looking at her creation. Her gaze is fixed on the world outside, a world she has seen every day of her life, but which suddenly feels like it belongs to someone else. The door to the solar opens. It is her father, the Baron, a powerful man with a face hardened by years of war and politics. He does not smile often, and he is not smiling now. His presence fills the room, his heavy leather riding boots making a soft, purposeful sound on the stone floor. He is a man of few words, a man for whom duty, land, and power are the only three currencies that matter. He is accompanied by a clerk, a thin, stooped man in a dark robe, who carries a rolled parchment sealed with a large, intimidating drop of red wax. The clerk keeps his eyes to the floor, a humble shadow in the Baron's powerful wake. "Isabelle," her father says, his voice a low rumble. It is not a greeting. It is a summons. It is the sound of a decision already made. She rises from the bench and sinks into a deep curtsy, the heavy fabric of her gown pooling on the floor. Her eyes are lowered, as is proper. "Father, an alliance has been made," he says, getting straight to the point. There is no preamble, no gentle explanation. His words are as hard and as functional as the stones of his castle. "You are to be married." The words hang in the air of the quiet, sunlit room. Isabelle feels a sudden cold knot of fear form in her stomach. It feels as if she has swallowed a stone. She knew this day would come. It is the fate of every noble woman, a fate she has been prepared for since she was a child. But the reality of it, the finality, is a physical shock. Her hands, hidden in the folds of her dress, are trembling. She forces herself to speak, to ask the question that will define the rest of her life. "To whom, Father?" she asks, her voice a small, trembling thing, a sound she barely recognizes as her own. "To the Baron de Montfort," he says. He speaks the name with a certain satisfaction, the satisfaction of a man who has just concluded a successful business deal. He is a good, strong man, a powerful ally. His lands border ours to the north. This union will secure our borders and our family's future for a generation. He speaks not of the man, but of his lands. He speaks not of a husband, but of an ally. The Baron de Montfort. Isabelle knows the name. It is a name whispered with a mixture of fear and respect in the great hall. He is a famous warrior, a man known for his brutality in battle and his unwavering, fearsome loyalty to the king. He is also, she knows from the hushed, gossiping whispers of the servants in the kitchen, a man of 40 years, a widower, whose first wife died in childbirth along with the son he so desperately wanted. He is a stranger, a creature from the world of men, a world of war and politics that she knows nothing about. And he is to be her husband. She feels a wave of nausea, and the room seems to tilt for a moment. She wants to protest, to scream, to refuse, to run. But she does nothing. She stands, silent and still. In this world, her desires are irrelevant. Her duty is to her family, to her lineage. Her purpose is to be a piece in a political game, a seal on a contract. To refuse is unthinkable. It would be to bring shame upon her house, to defy her father, her lord. And that is a sin greater than any other. It is an impossibility. The clerk, on a silent cue from her father, steps forward. He breaks the wax seal on the parchment with a soft crackle and unrolls it. It is the marriage contract. He begins to read from it in a dry, monotonous, legalistic voice. The text is a long, complex list of properties, of dowry, of inheritance rights should she fail to produce an heir. It speaks of acres of land, of heads of livestock, of sacks of grain, of rights to forests and rivers. It is a business transaction, a merger of two powerful houses. Her name is mentioned, but she feels as if they're talking about someone else, a commodity to be valued and traded. When the clerk is finished, his voice trailing off into the silent room, her father looks at her. His expression has not changed. "The wedding will be in a month's time. The Baron and his retinue will travel here. You will prepare yourself. You will not bring shame upon this house." It is a command and a warning. He turns and leaves the room, the clerk scurrying behind him like a dry leaf in his wake. Isabelle is left alone in the sunlit solar, the forgotten piece of embroidery in her lap. The frame is stretched with a piece of fine linen, and on it she has been working for weeks on an intricate pattern of a stag, its antlers like the branches of a winter tree. The sunlight of the late spring streams through the wavy, imperfect glass of the window, illuminating the fine silk threads of her work, making the colors gleam. But she is not looking at her creation. Her gaze is fixed on the world outside, a world she has seen every day of her life, but which suddenly feels like it belongs to someone else. Her childhood has just ended. The month that follows is a strange and surreal time for Isabelle. Her life, which was once a slow, predictable river, is now a frantic rush of activity, all of it centered around a single, terrifying event. She is no longer in control of her own days. She is a doll being dressed and prepared for a new owner. Her mother, a woman who rarely showed affection but was a master of household management, takes charge of the preparations. The women's quarters of the castle, once a place of quiet chatter and embroidery, are transformed into a bustling workshop. The first and most important task is the creation of the wedding gown. 2 seamstresses are brought in from the nearby town. They are professionals, their fingers nimble and their eyes sharp. They treat Isabelle with a respectful deference, but also with a clinical detachment. They measure her with strips of parchment, their movements quick and impersonal. They discuss her body as if she is not there. Her waist is small, we can emphasize that. Her shoulders are narrow, we will need to add padding to give her a more womanly figure. The fabric is chosen by her mother. It is not a simple white. It is a deep, rich crimson velvet, a color that symbolizes fertility and high status. The velvet is incredibly expensive, imported from Italy, and its texture is a soft, luxurious caress under Isabelle's fingers. Bolts of silk for the underdress and fine linen for the chemise are also brought out from the family's great storage chests. The sewing begins. Isabelle must stand for hours on a small wooden stool in the center of the room, holding perfectly still, while the seamstresses pin and tuck and sew around her. The air is filled with the soft snip of scissors, the rustle of fabric, and the low, professional murmur of the women as they work. She watches her new identity being constructed around her, stitch by stitch. She sees the intricate gold thread being embroidered over the collar and the cuffs, a pattern of vines and leaves, a symbol of the fruitfulness that is now expected of her. The dress is beautiful, a work of art. But to Isabelle, it feels like a beautiful, heavy cage. While the dress is being made, the other great task begins, the preparation of her trousseau. This is the collection of goods she'll bring with her to her new home, a display of her family's wealth, and a practical provision for her new life as the lady of a castle. Great, heavy wooden chests bound with iron are brought into the solar. They are opened, and the scent of dried lavender and cedarwood fills the air. The family's store of fine linens is brought out. Isabelle and her mother, along with the household servants, spend days counting, folding, and packing. There are dozens of linen sheets, pillowcases, and towels. There are fine linen chemises, underdresses, and nightgowns. Each item is inspected for any flaw, and each is a reminder that she is leaving this home, this life, forever. Another chest is filled with more practical items for managing her new household. There are spools of fine thread in every color, sharp steel needles from Spain, silver thimbles, and fine scissors. There are bolts of uncut cloth, both simple wool for the servants' liveries and fine silk for her own future gowns. She is not just a bride, she is the future mistress of a great household, and she must be equipped for the role. A smaller, more ornate chest is for her personal treasures. Her father gives her a heady gold necklace set with a single dark blue sapphire. It is a cold, formal gift, a symbol of her new status. Her mother gives her a silver-backed brush and a polished silver mirror. And she packs away her own few small treasures. A book of hours, its pages filled with beautiful hand-painted illustrations, a gift from her childhood tutor. A small carved wooden bird that her brother made for her years ago. These small objects, these pieces of her old life, feel like anchors in a storm-tossed sea. During these weeks, her mother takes her aside for a series of quiet, formal conversations. They do not speak of love or of happiness. They speak of duty.
Her mother instructs her on the practicalities of her new life: how to manage a castle's kitchens, how to oversee the servants, how to be a gracious hostess to her husband's powerful guests. And then, in a low, hushed voice, her mother speaks of the wedding night, of her duty as a wife. The words are vague, clinical, and deeply embarrassing. She speaks of submission, of the importance of providing an heir, a son, to secure the alliance and her own position in her new home. It is a wife's duty to be a vessel for her husband's line, her mother says, her eyes not meeting Isabelle's. Pray that God grants you a son quickly. A woman's true power in this world comes from her children. She listens in silence, her face burning with a mixture of fear and shame. The beautiful romantic songs of the minstrels, with their tales of chivalrous knights and adoring ladies, now seem like cruel childish fantasies. This is the reality. This is her future. A life of duty, of submission, and of a quiet, desperate hope for a son.
The month of preparation passes in a blur of activity, and then the day arrives. You wake in the pre-dawn darkness, not on your simple straw pallet, but in a grand bed, a privilege afforded to you for this one final night in your father's home. You did not sleep. You simply lay in the darkness, listening to the sounds of the castle, preparing for the great event, your heart a cold, heavy stone in your chest. Your ladies-in-waiting, young women you have known your entire life, enter your chamber. But today, their familiar, friendly faces are replaced by a formal seriousness. Today, you are not their friend, Isabelle. You are the bride. They treat you with a new, strange reverence, as if you are a holy relic being prepared for a procession. The process of dressing takes hours. It is a ritual in itself. First, the fine linen chemise, cool against your skin. Then the silk underdress, of vibrant blue. And finally, the wedding gown itself, the heavy crimson velvet, its gold embroidery glittering in the candlelight. It is as heavy as a suit of armor, and it feels just as restrictive. Your hair is braided with ribbons and pearls, a complex and beautiful arrangement that takes 2 women an hour to complete. A fine, almost transparent silk veil is placed over your head. You are no longer yourself. You are a symbol, a perfect, silent effigy of a noble bride. You are led from your chambers down the winding stone staircases of the castle. The castle, which has been your home, your entire world, is now a stage, decorated for the final act of your childhood. Banners with your family's crest and the crest of the Baron de Montfort hang side by side on the walls of the great hall, a visual representation of the alliance that is about to be forged. The destination is the small chapel within the castle walls, and it is there, at the heavy oaken doors of the chapel, that you see him for the very first time, the Baron de Montfort. He is a large man, a giant from the world of battles and power. He is older than you had imagined, his face a landscape of harsh lines, his beard shot through with gray. A long white scar cuts a path from his left temple to his jaw, a permanent reminder of some long-ago battle. He is not wearing armor, but a rich, dark tunic, a heavy gold chain around his neck. His eyes, you notice with a jolt of fear, are a pale, cold gray, and they assess you not with the warmth of a groom, but with the cool, appraising gaze of a man inspecting a fine horse he is about to purchase. He gives a short, formal bow. You curtsy, your eyes fixed on the stone floor. You do not speak. There are no words of greeting, no gentle introductions. Your fathers, standing beside you both, do the talking. They speak of the honor of this day, of the strength of their new alliance. You and the Baron are the silent, central figures in a drama that has been written entirely by others. You enter the chapel. The air is thick with the scent of incense and beeswax. The ceremony begins. The priest's voice is a low, monotonous drone of Latin, a language you understand, but the words seem to wash over you, devoid of meaning. You stand, you kneel, you rise. Your movements automatic. Your mind a numb, empty void. You feel the Baron's large, calloused hand take yours. His grip is firm, possessive. You exchange the vows, your own voice a thin, reedy whisper in the vast, silent space. I, Isabelle, take thee, Renaud. The name feels strange in your mouth, the name of a man you do not know. The vows are done. The priest declares you man and wife. The Baron lifts your veil. For a brief, terrifying moment, you think he is going to kiss you, but he does not. He simply looks at you, his cold gray eyes searching your face, and then he drops the veil back into place. The public part of the transaction is complete. You are now the Baroness de Montfort. The ceremony is over, but the public ordeal is not. You're led from the quiet solemnity of the chapel to the roaring chaos of the great hall. A great feast has been prepared, a lavish display of your father's wealth and the importance of this new alliance. The rule in a wall of sound, the boisterous laughter of the lords, the music of lutes and pipes played by minstrels on a raised gallery, the clatter of silver on pewter plates. It is a feast designed to impress, a performance of power. You eat, or you pretend to eat. You take tiny, bird-like bites, your stomach a tight, cold knot of anxiety. You sip at the sweet, spiced wine in your goblet, the liquid a welcome warmth in your cold body. Your husband, the Baron, eats with a hearty, soldier's appetite, his attention focused on his plate and on the conversations he is having with the lords seated near him. He speaks of war, of politics, of horses and hounds. He does not speak to you. You are a silent, decorative presence at his side. The guests, their tongues loosened by the free-flowing wine, become louder, their jokes coarser. Their eyes are often on you. You can feel their gazes, a mixture of curiosity, of pity, and of a certain lewd speculation. You are the virgin bride, the young doe delivered to the old stag. That thought makes you feel sick. You must navigate a minefield of social interaction. Lords and knights, friends of your father or your new husband, come to the high table to offer their congratulations. You must smile. You must be gracious. You must say the right things. You play the part of the happy, blushing bride, a role you have been taught your entire life, but it is a performance. Behind the polite smile, your mind is screaming. The hours of the feast stretch on, a long, surreal blur of food, wine, music, and the forced, empty pleasantries of a courtly celebration. You feel a profound sense of dislocation, as if you're watching your own life from a great distance. You see a young girl in a beautiful crimson dress, smiling and laughing, but you do not recognize her. Finally, as the evening wears on and the torches cast long, dancing shadows on the tapestried walls, a new kind of energy begins to build in the hall. It is a restless, drunken, and expectant energy. You know what is coming next. It is the part of the day you have been dreading more than any other. It is time for the bedding ceremony, the public conclusion to the public transaction. The minstrels strike up a new tune. It is a loud, boisterous, and frankly lewd song full of double meanings and crude jokes about the marriage bed. This is the signal. A group of the ladies of the court, their faces flushed with wine and excitement, surround you. Your own ladies-in-waiting, girls you grew up with, now seem like strangers, their familiar faces twisted into masks of forced merriment. They lead you from the great hall. It is a procession, a walk of shame disguised as a celebration. The male guests, led by your father and the Baron, follow behind,
their voices loud, their laughter echoing in the stone corridors. You are led to the bedchamber that has been prepared for you and your new husband. It is a grand room, dominated by a huge four-poster bed hung with heavy velvet curtains. The room is filled with people, a noisy, intrusive crowd. The ladies of the court begin the ritual of undressing you. It is not a gentle, private act. It is a public performance. They unlace your heavy velvet gown, their fingers fumbling in their haste. They remove your jewels, your veil, your headdress. Their chatter is a constant, meaningless buzz in your ears. You stand in your simple linen chemise, feeling naked and exposed, a sacrifice being prepared for the altar. Meanwhile, the men are performing a similar ritual with the Baron, removing his formal tunic, their jokes and laughter growing louder and more unrestrained. Finally, you are led to the bed and helped under the heavy covers. The Baron is brought to the other side and joins you. You lie side by side, two strangers in a bed, surrounded by a crowd of drunken, cheering spectators. A priest steps forward and blesses the bed, praying for fertility and the birth of a male heir. A cup of spiced wine is offered to you both. You take a small, trembling sip. Then, one by one, the guests begin to depart, their laughter and their good wishes echoing in the room as they go. Finally, your father and mother are the last to leave. Your mother gives you a final, brief, unreadable look. Then, the heavy wooden door is closed, and the iron bolt is shot across it from the outside. And then, there is silence. A profound, heavy, and terrifying silence. You're alone. Alone in the near darkness with a man you do not know. You can hear the sound of his breathing beside you, a slow, heavy rhythm in the quiet room. You can smell the wine on his breath. You lie perfectly still, your body rigid, your heart pounding a frantic, panicked rhythm against your ribs. This is the culmination of your entire life. Every lesson in obedience, every moment of your upbringing has led to this single, terrifying moment. You are no longer your own. You belong to him. You are the Baroness de Montfort, and your final duty of the day, the duty for which you were bought and sold, is about to be performed.
The silence in the room stretches for what feels like an eternity. It is a heavy, expectant silence, filled with the unspoken weight of duty and fear. You lie on your back, staring up into the darkness of the canopy above the bed, your body as rigid as a stone effigy on a tomb. You can hear the pounding of your own blood in your ears, a frantic, panicked rhythm. Beside you, the Baron shifts his weight. The ropes of the bed groan in protest. You can feel the heat of his body, a large, unfamiliar presence in the small, enclosed space of the bed. You are acutely aware of every small sound, every movement. He does not speak for a long time. When he finally does, his voice is not the loud, booming voice of the warrior from the feast hall. It is a low, rough, and surprisingly wary sound. "They make a great show of it," he says, more to the darkness than to you. "The feast, the songs, the blessings, all for this." You do not know how to respond. You remain silent, your breath caught in your throat. He sighs, a deep, heavy sound. "I am a soldier, girl, not a poet. I do not know the pretty words that the young men sing in the court. I know only duty, to my king, to my lands, and to my name." He turns slightly towards you. You can feel his gaze on you in the darkness of the bed. "My first wife," he continues, his voice flat, devoid of emotion, "was a gentle creature. She gave me 2 daughters, but she could not give me a son. She died in the birthing bed trying. A son is all that matters, an heir to hold the lands. It is the duty of a wife." He is not telling you a story.
He is giving you your instructions. He is telling you your purpose. He is silent again for a moment. Then he says, "You are young. They say your family is fertile. Your father is a good strategist. This is a good alliance. It will be a strong one if you do your duty." There is no mention of affection, of kindness, of companionship. It is a transaction, and he is simply stating the terms of the contract once more here in the darkness of the marriage bed. You find your voice, a small, thin whisper. "I understand my duty, my lord." "Good," he says. The word is a final, definitive seal on your fate. The story ends here, not on an act of passion, but on the cold, hard reality of medieval duty. The listener is left in the dark, tense silence of the bedchamber, contemplating the terrifying, uncertain future that awaits Isabelle. It is a slow, melancholic, and deeply atmospheric conclusion, a perfect final note to guide the mind towards sleep.